Hello, welcome back. My name is Amanda and this is my channel all about knitting. Today I have a video full of all sorts of fun cardigans, basically. It's all cardigans today. So I do have a finished cardigan that I'm wearing that I'm going to show you. I have two cardigan works in progress that we're going to talk about. And then I do also have some acquisitions, and I had a question that was sent in on my question video request little form thing, which I realized I haven't talked about for a while on the channel, so let me talk about that really quick. Just down in the description I have a Google form, and if there's a question you have that you want answered on the podcast or a video idea that you would like me to make a video about, just leave it down in that Google form for me. It's just a little bit easier to have everything all in one place. Sometimes comments get lost or forgotten about for a while, or sometimes they go to this weird folder in my back end of YouTube where they just get hidden from me for who knows what reason. But if you have a video idea, something you'd like me to talk about, a question, leave it down below in that Google form. So yeah, like I said, today's podcast is all about cardigans, it seems. Before we jump on into that though, really quick, anywhere that you want to find me on the internet, Instagram, Ravelry, my website, all of that is always linked down below in the description, as well as my website, my Ko-Fi, all those fun things. If there's anywhere you want to find me, it's going to be linked down below in the description. I don't think I have much announcement-wise, other than to just remind you that the One More Scoop collection did go live, I guess a weekend ago, 10 days ago, March 1st it went live. It is still up in the shop. I've been flying through the pre-orders for it really quickly. I literally have 3 more pans to dye tonight and everything is shipped out. So if you feel like you missed out or if you forgot about the update, it is still available in the shop. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, let's jump into finished objects. I am wearing, which I guess I kind of called a finished object last week, but we'll call it a finished object again because it didn't have buttons last week and I wasn't wearing it. My Primaveral cardigan. It's a pattern by Isabella and it did go live, oh gosh, I don't remember when, but it's live now. It'll be linked down below in the description of this video. But I knit this out of a skein of Birch sock and a skein of our new Birch Suri base held together, both in the colorway Earl Grey. And I knit the size 5 for this one with the double knit button band. So I'm gonna scooch everything around. I'll stand up so you can see it on. Okay, here we are. Here is my Primaveral cardigan. I am relatively happy with this. We'll get into one little thing shortly, which is more of a me problem than anything. Half the time it's a me problem, but I'll give you a little bit of a peek of the details on this first, then we'll sit down and get into more stuff about it. This is a cardigan with, it's got a mix of, let's see here, wrapped stitches and cables, so a mop cable and a cable. The whole thing is ribbed. It knit up shockingly quickly though for being completely ribbed, so I'm pretty impressed with that. I did modify the cuff on this, so instead of doing the 2 sets of decreases it calls for, I only did 1. I found the 2 sets of decreases made the cuff way too tight on me, so only did the 1 set of decreases. It did give me slightly less of a bubble sleeve than you see in the pattern sample photos, but I'm quite happy with how it fits nonetheless. Tubular bind off there. It does have a tubular cast on as well, but of course you could omit that quite easily. The whole body is knit from the bottom up, and then you connect at the shoulders and then pick up for the sleeves after that. The fit is really nice on the shoulders. There is quite a bit of shaping actually in the shoulders, or a little bit at least, so that it's not just a straight drop shoulder. And then the cables line up really nicely, I think, from where you pick up for the sleeves there. Like I said, I did the double knit button band. There is also an option for a scalloped button band that you crochet, but I just wasn't feeling that. I'm more of a plain and simple button band type person. These buttons I thought were really cute. I just got those from Hobby Lobby. And yeah, I think that's about it. The one issue that I am having with the cardigan, which is totally a me problem, I picked up, so when you're doing the button band, at least the double knit button band, I can't vouch for the scalloped one because I didn't look at that part of the pattern because I didn't knit it. But when you knit this double knit button band, you do the 2 front sections first, and then after that's completed, you pick up around and do for the neck. And I think what happened, you can see kind of how low this goes, and it's really not supposed to be that low. It's supposed to sit here. I think what happened though, I picked up the amount of stitches the pattern called for, but I'm not using 2 strands held double of Newton like the pattern calls for, which makes like a really, I don't want to say stiff, but a lot stiffer fabric than the fingering weight and the Suri held together gives you. And I think that just caused this to pull a lot. And so now I almost have a V-neck, but like not really. So I think what I might eventually do, who knows when that'll happen, but what I might eventually do is redo just this top part of the button band and pick up less stitches for it so that it pulls it up a little bit more and it sits more like here. Because you can see, like even in here, it's quite wide. When I picked up for it, it ended up being like every single stitch along the back, and then I think quite a few in here. And I repicked it up, I don't even know how many times before I hit the amount of called for stitches, and then I just, at that point, was like, let's just knit the button band and call it good. And now, yeah, like it's not bad, I don't hate it. It's not terrible, but I do think it makes it quite hard to wear with anything but a V-neck shirt because of how low it goes. Otherwise, if I wear something higher up, it cuts kind of funny in here and it just doesn't look fully right to me, if that makes sense. So should be an easy fix. This really didn't take me that long to knit, and if I'm going to have even less stitches, it's going to take me even less time to knit. I will have to detach this one button here and reattach it later, but that's, again, not the end of the world. Pretty easy to do. So yeah, otherwise I'm very happy. I feel like it fits me great in the shoulders. The sleeves are a really good length. They kind of go just right over the palm of my hand, which is how I like it. I feel like the length is good. So I really like it. I think I just need to redo this double knit button band just around the top so it's a little bit tighter. Very happy with it. I think it's very cute and classy, and I think it'll look really cute in the summer over like a dress or something, just to keep me warm in the air conditioning. I feel like it's going to be a very versatile piece and something I'm going to get a lot of wear out of, especially because of this color of yarn here. It also has, as per usual, dog fur all over it. Especially this time of year, my corgi is blowing out her coat and getting her summer coat in, and I literally live in the land of tumbleweed fur, so I apologize if you see dog furs on everything that I own, but yeah, I think the color is really versatile and it's gonna go with a lot of different things. So before I get into works in progress, I thought I would answer the question that I received on my Google form really quickly. I have talked about this vaguely before, but if you missed the Q&A video that I talked about this in, which was maybe like 6-8 months ago, totally understand if you've missed that. You wouldn't have heard the answer to this. So I had a question asking how I got into test knitting. If you watch my channel often, you would know I'm a very, very avid test knitter. That is what I do most of the time, is test knit designers' patterns. I really, really enjoy it. I kind of enjoy the challenge of like hunting for mistakes. Not that every pattern has mistakes in it, but that's the point of test knitting. So I really enjoy that sort of aspect of it. I love the community behind it, all that sort of stuff. So I do a lot of test knitting. And with that being said, I feel like I have a pretty good idea about some things that you can do to help jumpstart your test knitting journey if that's something you're interested in. So I thought I would give you a couple little quick tips, some stuff that I find is really, really important if you're wanting to test knit, and hopefully that will answer the question. So the first thing I have written down here, and probably one of the most important things, is to make sure that your Ravelry and your Instagram are not private. You want to have them public, and you want to have a lot of good photos of your work on there, a lot of examples of things that you have knit so that the designer can see your work, see your photography style, see if you've knit a lot of things like the pattern you're applying to test knit, or if you haven't, they might be looking for someone who hasn't knit a certain type of cardigan before, because designers do like having a point of view from someone who has knit maybe a lot of, we'll stick with cardigans because that's what the video is about today, but maybe the designer's looking for a mix of people who have knit a lot of cardigans and have experience, but also some people who haven't knit any before and are going to have a different point of view when they're testing the pattern, because it's important to have both ends of that, also beginner knitters, advanced knitters, so that you get a whole bunch of different views of the pattern while they're testing it. So you definitely don't want to have a private Instagram. I don't think you can make your Ravelry private, but if you have a private Instagram, first of all, they can't see your work, and second of all, you can't help advertise the pattern for them as you're test knitting it. So something that a test knitter does, other than helping find mistakes in the pattern, is help advertise that pattern for the designer before its release, gets it out to a whole bunch of other people, and gets people excited about the pattern coming out. So you want to make sure that your Instagram isn't private so that that can happen. As well, you want to make sure that you are showing projects often, you're posting often on your Instagram. You don't have to have a huge following to be a test knitter. When I started, I think I may have not even had 1,000 followers on Instagram. I don't think I had a very large amount at all. Now that was 5 years ago now, so my memory might be failing me, but you definitely don't have to have a big following. I see people in testing groups that I'm in that have anywhere from 100 followers to 10,000 followers. So that's not important, but what is important is that you're posting often and you're showing lots of your work and lots of your skill. You also want to make sure that you have really good photos on your Instagram, good lighting, in focus, good framing. You don't need to have a fancy camera. Every single photo I have on my Instagram is taken with my phone. So you don't have to have a fancy camera at all, but you want to make sure that your photos are good quality. So if you don't have umbrella lights or fancy lighting, take your photos in the window where you're going to get good light, or take your knit outside and take the photo outside. There are a lot of different ways to get that good lighting and get that good quality of a photo. Personally, I tend to use the portrait mode on my iPhone a lot. I find that gives me a really good photo. It'll focus in on my knit item for me, but then it'll blur the background really nicely so that all of the attention is on my knitting, and that's what the eye goes to first when the photo is taken. You also want to be comfortable with taking photos of yourself in the finished object, especially if it is like a cardigan or a pullover or something like that. You can easily do that by asking your husband to take the photo. You can set your phone up on a timer and take the photos that way. I have just a really cheap little clicker button that I purchased that I use to take my photos. So I set my camera up on a tripod and then I just hide the clicker somewhere behind my back in my pocket and click it to take the photos. But you want to make sure that you're comfortable modeling the finished item as well, be it socks, cardigan, whatever. Some designers aren't super picky about that, but they'll usually ask you in the form that you're filling out to apply for the test knit if you're comfortable with that, if you're not comfortable with that, that sort of thing. And otherwise, the only other tip I can really give you is start with small things. When I started out testing, I tested a lot of socks, a lot of hats, a lot of cowls. It kind of built up my repertoire, I guess, of test knitting. So then when I was filling out test knitting applications, I could list a whole bunch of different designers that I'd test knit for before, and they were quick test knits. So then I built up my repertoire really quick of all of these test knits that I've done. And I don't fully know if that's something designers look for, but personally, it seems to have helped me out a little bit. So something else you could do. But yeah, I think that's about it. There's really no, like, this is the way to do it, but if you're making sure you have good quality photos, if you're making sure your Instagram isn't private and you're posting relatively often, you probably have a good chance of getting accepted into a test knit. So yeah, just keep applying, keep trying, and you will eventually get picked for something. It just, sometimes it seems to be the luck of the draw. Okay, so with that question answered, let's jump into works in progress. I only brought up 2 things to talk about today. I am still working on my Stella quilt blanket a lot, but I don't have tons of progress on it. So I guess saying a lot is kind of a lie. I don't have tons of progress on it, so I figured I would just save it until next episode. But I did bring up 2 cardigans to show you, my Lauder cardigan and my Interthreading cardigan. So let's start off with my Lauder. I looked back at last episode because I thought I really hadn't got that much done since the last time I talked about this, but wow, I have got a lot done. So I'm excited to show this. This is, like I said, my Lauder cardigan. I'm test knitting this for Rebecca Clow. It's going to be coming out very soon. And last time I was only working on the back portion of this. So you knit the back, then you knit the 2 front panels, and then knit down on the cardigan for the body after you've joined underneath for the sleeves. And then you'll pick up and knit the sleeves and the button band. I should mention I'm knitting the V-neck cardigan version of this. The pattern is going to come with a round neck cardigan, a V-neck cardigan, and like a pullover version. So I'm knitting the V-neck cardigan. And like I said, last time I was just working on the back, and now I am here. So, yeah, I have got a lot done. Both sleeves are now finished, and I've obviously connected under the sleeves, and now I just have the body to finish and the button band. So yeah, this is flying. Pay no mind to this progress keeper. If you saw last week's episode, it was like a vlog, follow me around for a day type video, and I was trying to keep track of how much I got knit on this in one day, and so that progress keeper was for that. And it didn't really make sense for me to move the progress keeper back up to where I was last episode, because I don't really know. I was probably somewhere about here on the back, but that doesn't mean much when I've now like added the fronts onto it and done the whole sleeves and everything. So yeah, this is where I am with my Lauder cardigan. I am so excited to wear this. Wow, it's so pretty. This is probably the fanciest cardigan I think I'm going to have. I'm so excited. So let's start with size. I'm knitting the size 4 for this one. I think it's going to give me about 4 or 6 inches of positive ease, something like that. This is going to grow a lot when I block it because the cables all have purl rows between them. So when I block it, it's going to open up like this. So it might look small right now, but it's going to give me a decent amount of positive ease. And yarn-wise, I am using Sandnes Garn Double Sunday in the colorway Acorn. So let's see. What can I show you since last time? Let's start here. Can we just look at this beautiful detail that runs down the back with that cable? So this is going to run kind of like along my back shoulder. And I just think it's so clean and beautiful looking. And then running along the whole front of the button band will be this cable as well, this twist cable. So it's a mix of like a twist cable and then a braided cable. And then let's see, what else? The decreases on this are very neat and tidy, I think. I'll show you on the sleeve that doesn't have all of my markers on it. Let me explain this first, actually. So on this sleeve, you're decreasing every certain amount of rows. I don't want to give that away because it's a paid for pattern, but I mark every single one of my decreases so that I know I have done enough. So for this pattern, I needed 18 decreases. You're only going to see 17 markers here because I pulled one off to do my tubular bind off, but I mark every single one of my decreases, so then I make sure that I have them all done before I finish the sleeve. So you can see here how neat and tidy, actually, like I said, other sleeve, how neat and tidy these decreases are. So you can barely tell where they are, other than the fact that, like, once I run out of stitches, you stop doing the cable. But look how wonderfully that just like blends throughout the sleeve. Very impressed. I think it looks great. And because where the cables stop is under the arm, you barely see it anyways. So yeah, I think it's really neat and tidy looking. I'm pretty pleased with that. And then, like I said, tubular bind off on the cuff. I really love a tubular bind off. I feel like it just gives such a neat finish, and it's also really stretchy as well, which I appreciate. So I will do a tubular bind off on the bottom of the cardigan as well once I do the ribbing on that. Otherwise, yeah, I think I have, let's see, maybe like 8 inches left to do on the body. So at this point, I've kind of done the math at how much I have to knit a day to finish on time, and I think I have to do about 3 inches on the body every single day to finish on the date that I want to finish it on, so that I have enough time to block it and take photos and all that stuff. So it should be done pretty soon. And shockingly, for the fact that this whole thing is cables, there's like no break, it goes pretty quickly. You're only cabling every 4th row, so then you have like 3 rows of a break in between, and I'm not minding the knitting flat either, to be honest. So yeah, that progress keeper is from Hello Lavender. I think that is about all I have to say about this. It's so pretty. I can't wait to wear it. I have, how many? I think I ordered 13 balls of yarn for this, and I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I have 4 left. So that should be more than enough. I might just knit the body until I use 3 more up and then save 1 whole ball for the button band. And I think that should be plenty. And then kind of just knit the body to whatever length I get it to, because I think it's supposed to be about 12 inches long, which might be a wee bit short on me. I wouldn't mind maybe a couple extra inches. So I think if I use up as much as I can, save that 1 more ball for the button band, I should be fine. So that is my plan. The bag this is in is from Knitting Nelly. I love quilted bags lately. They're so pretty. It's kind of getting a little small, but at this point it's kind of just been living in a pile on my couch, and I just pick it up whenever I sit down. So it hasn't really been in the bag. The bag is mostly just holding the rest of the yarn. So that is my Lauder cardigan. And then the other thing that I'm working on is my Interthreading cardigan, which, goodness, there's a lot of ends going on here. This is a test knit for Hannah Sandler of Sandmade Knits. I'm knitting the size 6 for this one, and it is going to be like a rounded neck cardigan as opposed to the V-neck that the Lauder is. It is knit basically in the same fashion though, where you do the back of the body first, then add the fronts on, connect under the sleeves, and then go from there. So here is where I am. This progress keeper was also from that video that I put up last week, so pay no mind to that. But here's where I am. Like I said, I'm knitting the size 6, and this yarn here is Maple Walnut on Birch DK. It's just a really pretty beige with a whole bunch of different brown and caramel and maple speckles. Really nice neutral. And yeah, again, I'm enjoying this. The pattern is definitely less straight, or the texture pattern is definitely less straightforward than the Lauder. I do have to pay attention to it, which is slightly annoying. I do have to keep the pattern in front of me all the time, but maybe eventually I'll get it memorized. The repeat is just kind of one of those repeats where something changes every row, just enough that it throws you off if you're not paying attention. But yeah, so this is the back, and then this is my very small start at like what would come over in the front, over my shoulder. And then that obviously is the wrong side. But yeah, the texture on this I think is really, really pretty. I'm excited. It's going to have quite a deep drop shoulder. I did pick a size that's going to give me, I think, about 10 inches of positive ease, which is like right at the top end of what she calls for, but I knew I wanted something really big and cozy. It's really been my style lately. I like wearing more of like a fitted top or a fitted t-shirt and then a really big cozy cardigan or hoodie or something over top of it. So that's kind of what I'm going for with this one as well. Here's a ball of the maple walnut. Or a cake ball, whatever. So again, like I said, this Progress Keeper is from that video I filmed last week. This one's also from Hello Lavender. I hadn't used this one in a while, but it's so cute and it's twisting on me. But it's just a little rain cloud and then raindrops. They come in a set with like a main marker and then some accent markers. I always just keep the accents attached to the main marker until I need to use them, just so I don't lose them and the set kind of stays together. So yeah, I have about a month left to work on this one, so lots of time. Not concerned in the slightest. Should be done in no time. I do have an acquisition that I wanted to show, and it's just over there, so let me grab it really quickly. So I have 5 balls of this. I've never used this before. This is the Biches and Boucher, the Le Petite Silk Mohair, and I was graciously sent this to do a test knit that I'm really excited about. This is only part of the yarn I'll be using. I'm waiting for some other stuff to arrive, so that's why I haven't started it yet. But this colorway here is called Dark Blue Green. So I'm going to be holding this with some Wool Dreamers. Is it Sauna? Where's my phone? Let me look this up. I don't fully know how to pronounce it. But we'll see if I can figure it out. Yeah, everywhere is saying sauna, so hopefully I got that right. But I'm going to be holding it double with some of that in, what is it called, 1983? Let me see. Why don't we try and pull it up on my phone and see if I can show you. But I'm going to be knitting a cardigan from Ozetta that is coming out very soon, 1985. So I'm going to be knitting the Opal sweater, which is going into test knitting for Ozetta very soon. Let's see. That's not bad. But that is going to be the color I'm holding with this. 1985. I think it's going to be really pretty. Sauna is a mix of wool and cotton, merino wool and cotton. So I have a little bit of it in stash, but I haven't knit with it yet. I'm really excited to see how it knits up, especially held with this mohair. It's very soft. This is probably some of the softest mohair I've felt. I'm usually more of a Suri person because I feel like it's softer, but this mohair is very, very soft. So yeah, excited to work on that. Just waiting on the rest of the yarn to arrive, but I was very graciously gifted this and the rest of the yarn for the test knit from Wool Dreamers. This was from Haley Ozetta. She paid for this portion of it, and then Wool Dreamers is sending me the sauna. So I'm very excited to start that. I'm very grateful that they offered to send that to me. That's the first time I've ever been gifted yarn for a test knit, which I think is pretty cool, and I'm really excited to try the yarn that the pattern was intended to be knit up in. I think that's going to be really, really fun. Otherwise, the only other thing I should say, which I forgot to mention at the top of this episode, is that along with the Ice Cream Social collection, all of my old Suri base did go on sale. I'm trying to clear it out because the shop is switching over to a different Suri base, and there is still some left in stock. So I might as well pull some down and kind of show you what I have left. So yeah, if you're interested in the Suri, it is on sale. I do like this Suri base. I just switched over to the new one, mostly because the yardage is a little bit better, in my opinion. You get about 100 yards more with the new base. But it's just as soft, if not softer. So there are some skeins of Suri still on sale in the sale section of the shop. Here's a few. This here is Flocked Pine for your 411. And what are you? You are 7 Pembroke Lane, as well as, what else have I grabbed? This is called Hallie We're Twins, Sugar Plum Fairy, Allie, and Hyacinth. So these are on sale in the shop. Whatever I have left, I'm not going to dye up anymore, obviously, because this is the old base. But if you're interested in it on the new Suri base, those are available in the shop in whatever quantity you so desire. But yeah, these are on sale, so if you want to grab and try some Suri out, if you've never tried it before, get a little bit of a discount if that interests you. Otherwise, I think that's about everything I have to talk about this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. It really helps out the channel a lot. Hit that like button as well so that I know you enjoyed this week's episode. And I will see you next week. Bye!